And welcome back. All right, let's get to the interactive part of the show. This is where we want to engage you. And this morning we want to know, what is your reaction to the latest amendments to the regulations that will be in place during level 4 of the country's risk-adjusted strategy to reopen the economy? So we heard those announcements made last night, Leanne. It's about the cigarette and an about turn on the issue of the sale of cigarettes. So the ban on the sale of cigarettes, as announced by the president earlier in the week, has now been rescinded almost, because now that ban remains in place. The ban on alcohol remains in place. You are now allowed to go jogging outside your home within a 5-kilometer radius. I'm not sure who's going to police that, but I can just see the streets teeming with people. And what else is there, Leah?
Well, I mean, you talk about that exercise. It's also between 6 and 9 in the morning. So can you just imagine? Everybody's going to be out there walking, jogging, running. You'll even find the dogs and cats on leashes. So it's going to be very, very crazy. So yeah, between 6 and 9 in the morning only, that's it. And then you're allowed to have a once-off leave your province, wherever, if you have left, to come back to your residence, or vice versa, for the duration of level 4. I'm not sure how this is all going to work. I really don't. And also, shops now allowed to open that sell winter clothing. But that, of course, is also quite a difficult one, because if you think of shopping centres, I mean, just honestly think about shopping centres. You've got the majority of clothing stores that do sell winter clothing. They're all going to now be allowed to open their doors, as well as all the ones that are selling essentials, as well as, I think they said, computers, cell phones, stationery. So
all of that. So
I don't know.
I think there's a lot of confusion right now in terms of are we this lockdown? You know, where are we going with this at the moment? But of course, we'll see. We'll hear more announcements as we prepare for season 3 of Lockdown South Africa.
Well, one thing I can confirm to you is that we've just been told this morning that briefing that was meant to be held by the Department of Education by Minister Angie Motshekga, she was meant to brief us today as to the exact details. Apparently, that has now been postponed again, and to a later date and another time. So none of us know what's going on in education either, and that is a big stumbling block. So that's the latest news. They said it would be later today, but apparently it's not happening today. It'll be another day. So let's keep our eye on that one as well.
Can't say I'm surprised, but engage us. Let's hear your views. I see people already started engaging, so that's our question of the day. So let's park that one there for the time being. And then moving on to our trend stories of the day, starting with this. According to figures released by the Health Ministry last night, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in South Africa is now at 5,350. Number of deaths increased to 103, and there's since been 2,073 recoveries, which brings the total number of active cases to 3,174.
Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs will today hold a virtual meeting with the Department of Cooperative Governance to receive a briefing on the 20 billion rand additional funding to municipalities for the fight against the impact of COVID-19.
Both the Gauteng and Eastern Cape Provincial Command Councils will today hold briefings to give an update of the COVID-19 situation in their respective provinces.
And here are those numbers for you to keep for more information on coronavirus. Call the 24-hour hotline 0800 029 999, or you can add them on WhatsApp. Just send a message, hi, and that number is 0600 123 456, and you'll get regular updates.
Right, and as we always do every morning, just a recap on the official statistics for COVID-19 in South Africa. As you can see there, the Western Cape, 2,135 cases confirmed. Gauteng, 1,408. KwaZulu-Natal, 956. In the Eastern Cape, that figure is at 630. Free State, 113. 31 in Limpopo. Mpumalanga is also at 31. Northwest, 29. And the Northern Cape with 17 positive cases.
All right, let's look at the overall test conducted. 197,127 positive cases, 5,350, recoveries 2,073, and the deaths so far in South Africa, 103 deaths related to COVID-19. Active cases as you wake up this morning, 3,174 people. And also, let's just again give you that global picture, 3.2 million coronavirus cases around the world. Right now, we're sitting at deaths of just under 230,000 deaths.
Right, let's move to those trending topics now. First up, hashtag level 4 restrictions. And this, of course, what we've been talking to in our question of the day as well, Leanne, along with hashtag cigarettes coming out of that briefing last night, of course, and people's reaction. That was the big one that people reacted to, along with the, the education and what was going on there. But yeah, hashtag level 4 restrictions.
Yeah, it's a big one, and we'll be talking to it all morning. So we want your views on what you've heard yesterday. Cigarettes, that about turn, and that was an interesting one. For some reason, I saw that one coming. I really did. I think many of us did. But that doesn't take away from the reaction that has now come from this, because you're now seeing a lot of court cases looming, and they've gotten a lot of people upset about this about turn on the cigarettes. But the rationale behind it is that the illicit trade of cigarettes is booming at this time, and there's a great concern. But at the end of the day, the minister announcing and saying that this is a health-related reason. It is, of course, cigarettes. It's something, this virus, COVID-19, affects your lungs and your breathing, and cigarettes directly does the same thing. So that's the rationale behind it. They said they got over 2,000 emails against the unbanning of cigarettes, and that was also one of the reasons what led them to change it. But this wasn't a good reaction from Twitter at all. So cigarettes, a big talking point.
And the other big talking point, of course, hashtag attention Minister of DBE. That's the Department of Basic Education. And this has to do, of course, with the briefing in Parliament yesterday, which was the Basic Education Department's DG there, basically outlining to the Portfolio Committee on Education what some of the steps are that they intend embarking on to get children back to school. And that received massive reaction, Leanne. Still, there's a lot of traction here, and people are in the main saying, you as parliamentarians are not even prepared to go back to Parli, yet we want to send our children back to schools when we are at home. So where's the logic in all of this? Yeah,
that this one really got a big reaction. I mean, just look at that photograph that we're showing there on the screen. Now, according to the rules, the classroom must have 40 children in it maximum, okay? They got to be, a meter and a half away from each other. They each got to have their own desk. All of them must wear masks. There has to be sanitizers all over the place, and but look at that classroom already. I mean, that's just showing you. I know it's moved into a photo frame, but that's probably an example of a good classroom in South Africa. A lot of classrooms don't even have desks. They are in the most derelict of conditions, and you're sending children back there. Parents are not happy. I mean, you've got the government telling us that we can't even go and pick up our takeaway, but we need to send our children to school, and that is really getting a lot of people very, very hot under the collar. So very upset that we're not hearing from the minister today, but who knows, that might change, that we might get the announcement today, but I don't think so, because messages coming through saying that it has been postponed and another date will be announced. So,
and of course, we're seeing petitions as well all over the show, Leanne, where parents are simply not having it. And we, of course, will then be speaking to Professor Mary Metcalf, an education expert, about this as well. So please stay tuned. That interview coming up in the next half hour. But for now, it is 6